When it comes to security, there is nothing more important. Oh, the f***ing train. When it comes to security, there is nothing more important than security lighting, often overlooked, underappreciated. In this video, we're going to talk about the differences between a hardwired security light and a solar security light, the pros and cons of both, how to install both of them, and working out exactly what the right fit for you might be. Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name's Simon from Simon Security Expert. Welcome back to anyone who's tuning in again. It's a real pleasure of mine to provide these security info videos with tips and tricks to help you secure your home and protect yourself and your family. So thank you very much for being here. Let's get cracking with the video. So what's the difference between a hardwired security light and a solar security light? Well, clues in the name. One of them is hardwired with a cable that's for the mains. One of them simply runs off that good old nuclear reactor that's in the sky. These are both a similar price, so I thought there'd be a good test to run them alongside each other, do a test at the night time, see how much brightness we get from them, and run over what's the best option for you. I'm replacing that light over there. I've currently got a hardwired security light on the right-hand side. Interestingly, and this will be fun, I made a mistake when fitting that light. You can see the mistake from here. I will reveal the mistake at the end of the video, but put it in the comments if you can see the mistake I made when fitting that light. You'll be able to spot it from here. It's not that old shabby one that's next to it. It's the white one there. I fitted it. We're going back 9-10 years when I was still beginning in the industry. So put it in the comments, the mistake I've made. I'm going to take you through the installation of the hardwired light, and then I'm going to take you through the installation of the solar light, which I'm going to put up on that wall there so we can come out at night and we can see which one's doing better, the features of both, and overall, it'll be a good real world test. Let's go. So we're going to start by ripping off this old unit because we don't need it anymore. The joints of the main wiring in this unit was previously in a standalone PIR. So if I take the lid off that, it exposes the mains cables that are coming in and then going out to the sensor there. So how do we test to make sure that's safe? Well, just wet your finger and you touch the cable to see if it zaps you or not. Of course, I'm joking, guys. Never, ever, ever do that. Right? We have our tester. And we're going to test if the voltage is dead. It should be because I've already isolated it. It's on its own switched fuse spare. Yep, dead as a dodo. Happy days. There we go. So now that we've removed the old light, the first thing we need to do is put a new whisker box or an outside IP rated box onto the wall. The mains cable is going to come through this hole in the back here. And then we can, when we fitted our light, the cable from the light can go into here. And then that's when we can match them all up. Now the whisker box is mounted, it's time to mount the light. And see, here's the cable for it. That's going to go into that whisker box as well. And that's where we're going to do our joints. Now, I was really hoping that the holes drilled 10 years ago for the old light were going to match up very nicely for this bracket here. Looking at it, I don't think it's going to do it. So I'm going to have to drill more holes. I might get to use one and drill another couple of holes just to secure the back plate. So first of all, the thing you need to do with your LED wired security light is unscrew the light from the back plate that we're going to mount onto the wall. This is how 95% of security lights are for hardwired security lights. Yeah, so as suspected, those 3 drill holes do not match this back plate. So I'm going to just be able to use one of them, and the other 2 I'm going to mark out and drill now so that I can fit this with a secure fit. The easiest way to mark out your drill holes is not the way I'm doing it right now with the terminal screwdriver and just pushing against the wall. What I'd recommend you do is just use like a felt tip. And sometimes if you've got something that sits further off the wall, so a felt tip won't reach, you can get these little marking guns, you know, from Screwfix or Tool Station, places like that. And you'll put it in and you can squirt a bit of like marker ink onto the wall so it can tell you exactly where to drill your holes onto. This way that I'm doing is like barbaric, but you know, it works. A little bit old school really, because I still will turn my screws in with a Phillips screwdriver. And I've been asked on a video actually, why do you do that and not just use, you know, an impact driver or your drill to just nip it up? And it's like, come on guys, if you want nice big juicy forearms to impress the chicas, use your hands, turn the screwdriver, and you'll be good to go. And they'll love it. Now, once you've mounted your back plate, you want to screw in your light onto the slots provided there. Hopefully, you haven't lost the screws or dropped them. Honestly, that's a nightmare. If you're working like a field, putting a light, and you drop one of these screws and it's gone, you best hope that you've got another one in your van. Otherwise, it's time to start crying. In order to set up your hardwired security light, it has some settings on the bottom of the PIR sensor. One of them's time, one of them's sensitivity, one of them's lux. Now on this one here, it actually has where it says 1 minute. Don't know if you can see. Let me try and so you can see. See, it says 1 minute. So you can turn the dial round to where it says 1 minute, and theoretically that should mean that the light stays on for 1 minute from the last time it sees movement. Some of them don't have any indication, and you just have to go backwards and forwards trying to set it up. It can be a bit of a pain actually, but yeah, that's the way it is. Then you've got your lux level, which is set to nighttime. Now it's right the way round to moon. I always suggest pulling it back a little bit because you don't want it to be pitch black before your light starts working. You want it to come on when it's starting to get a bit dusk. Now that you've mounted your light, you've got your mains cable coming out of the light here. So just work out how much you need. It's going to go into the box and give you plenty of slack, and cut the cable back. Make sure not to cut this too short because if you do that, it's just a disaster. Now in a perfect world, I'd like to actually connect the cables with a Wago connector, but I haven't got one at the moment and the wholesaler's closed. So I'm going to use some chocky block, which I've used successfully for many years, to be fair. Once I've put the cables together, I'll bring you up here so you can see exactly how to wire a hardwired security light with a built-in PIR. The one where you don't have a built-in PIR and it's going to like an independent PIR or a photocell is wired differently. But yeah, that'll be for another video if you'd like to see it. Here's a tip on this. When you're actually exposing the cables, even though you've made sure the circuit's dead, if you've got quite a modern mains board, then if the neutral and the earth of the incoming mains to the light shorts, it can still trip the RCD at the board, meaning you can cut off the whole house or half the house, you know, a portion of it. So it's always worth, if you're doing this for a customer or doing this for a family member or something, let them know that even though you've isolated the mains, it could still knock power off, just so they're aware, because some people get weird about like the computer getting powered down, even though it's fine. So as you can see here on the wiring, it's as simple as earth to earth, live to live, and neutral to neutral. Make sure this whisker box is on properly and give it a bead of silicone around it as well to stop any water ingress. But that's it, guys. Sometimes the live going out to the light, they might do it in red. So just check the spec on the particular light that you've got, just so you know which one's the live going out to the light itself. Okay, guys, here is the light all wired and fitted. Mains going into that whisker box there. It's not actually a whisker box, that's a make, but you know, an external junction box. Cable comes out and goes directly into the back of the PIR, which does all the magic in here. So this will just come on at night time. We'll test that a bit later. Something that is worth remembering about these lights, guys, that you might not know, and it's a mistake a lot of people make when it comes to movement sensors in general, is they will point the PIR down thinking that the motion sensor needs to be looking at the floor. It doesn't work best for pickup rate that. Have your motion sensor so it's going out level. When it's going out level, it automatically looks down anyway, and you'll get a much longer field of view, and it will still get someone if they're in this area here. So don't worry about pushing it down. It actually limits how good the light is. By the way, guys, look at what a mess this is now. I was on the ice bath craze for like 2 months and a few years ago when everyone was in lockdown, and now this is what's left of it. I have no idea what is living in that thing, but that needs to go to the tip. Well, as far as installation goes on this one, guys, I don't think it's going to take me long at all. All I've got to do is mount this back plate the correct way around, making sure the light falls into place here, onto the wall, just drill a couple of screws, turn the light on, and I'm done. So that one took a little while. You've got to be right, you've got to do it properly, and you've got to do it safely. This one, I think, I don't know, 2 minutes, let's see. Something worth bearing in mind as well, guys, is if you're drilling something onto an external wall, wherever possible, always try and fit it to the brickwork. Don't drill into the mortar and then fit it onto that, because over time, mortar degrades and it falls out, and it does mean the piece of equipment that's been attached to the wall could fall out. So there is an on button just here, that red button there. So we're going to click this on. I mean, that's not that bad a light. Let's go and slot this into place. Sorry guys, I know this isn't very steady, but it just goes into there and slots down. And there we go, that light is fitted. It's currently getting some sunlight at the moment. There's the sun. Get a beautiful sunset in my garden, by the way. It really is amazing. See it from that window up there at night time. It's great. Isn't that lovely? So this actually also comes with a remote control. So let's go and have a look at that now. This light, guys, comes with this little remote here. So if we pull this slip out, we should be able to choose what we want. So you can turn the light off from here. You can turn it on and the light will come on. Number one is movement to trigger the light because it's got a little PIR sensor in the middle there. So if we press that one and set it to number one, it's not actually working, but I have only just installed it. So I don't actually know if it's got any energy in the solar light. So it's getting some sunlight now. We'll come back later on. We'll run the test through that and we'll run the tests through the hardwired one as well. Look, this video isn't trying to say one of these is better than the other. I can tell you now, the hardwired security light overall is always a better option. I'm not doing it to dog on solar either. I actually think this is a really amazing use case. Don't forget that took me, half an hour. Sometimes it can take hours depending on the actual setup you've got at someone's house. Maybe the cable isn't even in place, but this could be a half decent alternative. We won't really know how good it is until we come out at night, turn the camera around, and we can actually see when it's triggered how much light it's giving off into the garden. So let's wait until later on and we'll update in the video then. Okay guys, so now we are in my garden. Now it's not as dark as it often gets in the UK, but it's quite dark. It's just because it's summertime. So I'm going to walk now in front of the light and we're going to see just how much the hardwired security light lights up my back garden. So yes, I'm in my dressing gown. As you can see, that's a pretty fantastic result. It's lighting up the entire back garden. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go underneath the solar light on the right there, and we're going to see how much light that gives off compared to this amount of light here. Then we'll put them side by side so you can really see the difference between the two lights. This here as well is actually still on the hardwired light. Oh, fucking train always. Oh. This light here is not actually from the solar light. This is still from the hardwired light. And even though we're not in its direct line of sight, you can see just how much light it's giving off. It's blocked by those trees there, but it's still getting down towards the bottom of the garden. So soon when that goes off, we're going to trigger the solar light and see how that does. Okay, so you've just seen the hardwired light go off there. So now I'm going to use this remote control here to turn the solar light on so you can see it in this area. And there we go. That's the solar light. I actually think that's genuinely quite good. So I'm now going to trip the other light over there and you'll see how much it lights up the garden. So the light here, it's not as good. It's not as good as the hardwired light, but I still think for what it is, for the ease of installation, that's not a bad result. It's still lighting me up quite well here. I'd like it to be able to see me before I go and trigger that light over there. So even if I just move a little bit further back, okay, now it's brought that one on as well. But to be honest, I'm impressed with that. And it's worth remembering as well, it's only been out for a few hours in the sun. It didn't have direct sunlight. So if I turn, and there's functions you can do with this control, such as you can have it set so it's on, off, of course, but you can also have it set on when it's motion, which is what the hardwired security light is. But you can also have it on where it just keeps a dim light until it sees motion and then it comes on brighter. So it's got some good features for it. And I'm really impressed with that. That's actually worked out a lot better than what I thought it was going to. The hardwired light, of course, is still better. It's lighting up right down to the bottom of the garden. And if they were right next to each other side by side, you'd get a lot more out of that. But that's a really good result. For what it is, for the easiest installation, that's definitely worth considering, depending on your budget. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about this once I get in the car tomorrow on my way to work. Just go over the pros and cons, the costs of each, just so you can make the most informed decision about the security lighting that's going on in your home or business, because honestly, it is so important and often overlooked. One last test I want to do is just to see the pickup rate on the PIR from the solar security light. The one from the hardwired light is really good. It gets me from really far away. So I'm just going to start walking into shot now to see when it actually picks me up. There, not bad. Genuinely impressive. Now, I'm going to stop this and I'm going to go inside because I'm dying of embarrassment because all my neighbours with their windows open can hear me and it's going to sound like I'm talking to myself and I want to try and seem a bit less crazy. Let's go. Don't worry, I haven't forgot to actually share with you the mistake I made. I almost did, I almost forgot, but realised I hadn't included it. The mistake I made fitting this security light, and the mistake you should try to avoid, is I fitted it too close to this vent, which is my boiler. So when the boiler pushes out its condensed air, it puts the steam in front of the sensor and it triggers it, so it triggers it quite often. So when you're fitting your security light, try and avoid things just like that could impact it and make it trigger when it actually hasn't seen movement. It's just seen the condensed steam air and the heat going past and made it trigger. So put it away from vents and put it in a nice clear area so nothing like that's going to interrupt it. Right, off to work we go. So let's go through the pros and cons essentially of the solar versus hardwired security light so you can decide what might be the best option for you. If we look at price, first of all, the actual cost of both the units, they were around about a similar price to buy, which is, I think, about £30, which probably works out to be about, I don't know, $40 maybe. Now, the cost will start to change significantly when it comes to installation, depending on how competent you are. So in order for an engineer to come out and install a hardwired security light, you know, there's a few questions to ask. Is there a mains cable already there, or do they need to run a mains cable? What's access like to the light? You know, if it's on a very high up point and you need to use 3 rungs of ladders, all these things end up really increasing the cost. Essentially, you're still working with hardwired electrics. It's a dangerous job and it's a skilled job. Therefore, it ends up being a relatively expensive job. For instance, if we're going to take an example of how much it would cost for an engineer to come out and install a hardwired security light for you, it'd be difficult because each job is different, but you know, it could end up being anywhere between, I don't know, £200 to £400, depending on how much of the installation needs to happen and how long it's going to take. That's essentially what it comes down to. Then you've got the solar security light, which costs, you know, around about the same amount to buy, and pretty much anyone who could use a drill could fit that unit. It's not dangerous. You don't need any real skill to install it. Essentially, if you're not looking for a really big bright light to bright up the whole area, it could be a really, really good choice for you. There are some things to think about when it comes to such thing as reliability. A hardwired security light usually will be very reliable, will continue to work. The solar security light, it's not built as well. You know, you can tell, but it's made out of plastic, whereas a hardwired light is made out of like a solid metal. And there is something that a lot of people always forget about when it comes to, whenever there's a school, it's just a mess. When it comes to the solar powered security light, here's a few things. One thing, placement. Wherever you're placing the actual device, is it getting plenty of sun? Because if it's not going to work well. You can't adjust the settings for how long it stays on. You know, when it sees motion, it's just set to 15 seconds. It can't really do a great deal longer than that because it doesn't want to stay on for too long. It's going to drain the actual battery life. So if you live somewhere like I live in England, you know, we're dark. It's all right at the moment, it's summer, but this place is dark like 7 months of the year. So it's not going to be getting much sunlight. So even though I will do a review in the winter time, I don't think it's going to work as well, because not only is it not getting as much sunlight, when it is getting sunlight, the sun's low in the sky, so it's just not getting much penetration onto its panel. Another thing people often forget about solar security lights is you need to clean the panel. The panel that's on top of the solar security light will get covered in dust and muck and stuff over time. It might not actually be that visible, but it makes a massive difference to the actual performance of anything solar. It's why when you get these solar farms, and after 5 years, their output is down by like 50% because they need to clean the actual solar panels. So every now and again, not often, maybe every 6 months, you'd need to give a wipe to the top of the solar panel in order for it to keep working as well as it should do. You don't have to do that with the hardwired security light. There isn't really any maintenance. So essentially what you're going for here is, what is it that's important to you? Is it about the ease of installation, about the cost, or about the quality? The quality, to be fair, with the solar light wasn't bad. It was impressive for what it was. So there's a few options, and I couldn't really recommend what's best for you because it'll depend on your specific situation. But I could see loads of reasons why a solar security light would be a nice, easy, quick and effective way to go. Even if it's just something to put in place while you save up to get proper security lighting, it can really do a job. So there we go, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the review of the Hardwired versus solar security light. As always, next video is already in the works. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.